Hey, this is Drive Safe Dave here back at BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. And we have for us, we got Roxanne Brown, DOT consultant, crisis management at Ironwood Business Consulting. First of all, Roxanne, I'd like to say thank you for being a follower of our show and tell us what are some of the favorite parts of this show and what would you like to see more of?
Well, thank you for having me. I love watching your guys' show. I mean, obviously, you guys discuss some very important issues, and the conversations are much needed. But my favorite part about the show is the two of you. I absolutely love you guys. I think you're hilarious when you guys banter back and forth. You remind me of an old married couple. And, nobody wants to watch a show no matter how good the information is. If it's Charlie Brown, won't. And you guys you really bring the life to it. And I love it.
But yeah, we definitely can never be accused. Rick and I can never be accused of just going back and forth. I you know
Never.
so first of all, tell us what you do, and just realize the segment you're on is Ladies Who Launch. This is to highlight you ladies in the industry and how important and what you're contributing to the industry. So thank you for coming on to this part, Roxanne, and being on Ladies Who Launch. So tell us what you do over there at Ironwood.
I'm a DOT consultant. So I work closely with several different clients. I help them with everything DOT from, we help with crisis management to set up for new carriers, and really just focus on teaching them and educating them on DOT and compliance and finding the things that they're missing or not doing and help them to correct it. So it's a very rewarding job.
So Roxanne, and let's just kind of go into the meat and nuts and bolts of it. And you help no matter your clients. It can be a one truck operation, it can be 100 truck operation, it can be whatever it is. You basically go in, you go in at ground level and then start maybe with a assessment of DOT like audit, like a fake audit.
Yes, we do a mock audit is typically where we start, just so we can kind of see the overall health and identify the areas that we really need to focus on. And then we go in from there. So yes, any size, it's really, we have a lot of smaller companies that can't really afford to have a full-time DOT person on staff. So that's where we come in and we help with that gap. And then we also have larger companies that do have a full-time DOT person. But they need help, and we work a lot with training and teaching them, and so it just whatever your company's needs are, we really tailor it to your needs.
So and I get it. I will recommend, if you're out there and you're a carrier, you need to have a mock audit. You need to have somebody come in outside your organization. You need to have them come in and you need to have them look at the things that you've been looking at all the time and maybe see some of the things that you're overlooking, and you're not seeing. And let's talk to that. Let's just say the top three things that you generally find no matter where you step in. What are the top three that you believe to be the areas of most concern or where people need most help at?
I'm so the top I'm going to say the top two for sure. Driver qualification files, that's always a challenge. When I ask clients to see their DQ files, oftentimes, they easily hand over the DQ files. But once you get into it, there's oftentimes a lot of things that are missing. The SPHRRs, a lot of people don't understand how to, get that past history from the clients and what happens if they can't get it. So there's many things within the DQ files, clearinghouse, but my biggest thing is vehicle maintenance files. When I ask for a DQ file, I usually get something back almost every time, at least something. But so many times when I ask for their vehicle maintenance files, I get asked, well, what's supposed to be in that? Um, so that is an
Well,
area
Roxanne, what is
I,
supposed to be in there?
I mean, well, there's lots of stuff that need to be in there, but one of the little small things that a lot of people don't know is, you got to know your tire size, and that has to be written on the front. And it has to be right there and available. And people are like, "What tire size? Why do we need to know that?" Um, they're not keeping copies of their pre-trip, post-trip slips, and that when a driver finds something wrong and how it was fixed or repaired, it's not being signed off on and in the files. That is the biggest one. Um, Usually they have those, but they don't have it in their files, and they don't know that it's supposed to be part of your vehicle maintenance. So it's just, a lot of those little things. They go and get their inspections done, and they're like, oh, well, we do our annual inspections, but a lot of times they're not keeping just proper maintenance records. They just got a box full of receipts, or shoved in a corner somewhere, kind of type thing. So it's just really, mostly it's about they usually have all the pieces. It's just more so about teaching them how to put it together and keep a file that they could easily hand over if needed in the event of an audit, or, they don't like to even put it out there, but God forbid, they have to go to court. It's ready and easy to hand over.
Yeah, and we definitely see the need for it, and it's not easy knowing all the rules, is it, Roxanne? I mean, you could be doing this. You could be and if you're at a small company, you might be the owner, dispatcher, and safety guy, and
Yes,
it's not easy knowing all the rules to the FMCSR. I mean, you just don't. That's a big book. I mean,
it is.
and
I've been doing this for years, and I hit the books regularly because I can't remember everything. I don't know everything, but I know how to find it.
yeah,
So
absolutely. I
that
mean,
and
that
that's
book
really
and
the
that
trick.
and honestly, let's be honest, Roxanne, that book changes every quarter. I mean,
Yes, sir. I always tell people, as soon as you think you know something, you don't anymore, because it changes. So
it,
never stop learning. You have to keep learning.
and speaking to that, how did you? What's your? Let's talk about you for just a second.
Okay.
You have in the industry. How long do you have in truck? I mean, in trucking or logistics. How long have you been in the industry?
So I've been in the industry for a little over 12 years. I actually started out on the shipper side. I worked in chemical manufacturing plant, and so I was the shipper. So um,
You worked in the traffic
when we
office.
yes. So then we decided, well, I say we, but my boss decided that we were having trouble finding tanker trucks as quickly as we needed. We were in Maryland, and we had some pretty huge clients here, actually, in Houston, Texas, where I'm at now. So he decided we were going to buy some trucks, and we're going to start shipping our own product. And it sounded easy, right? We make the products, we already create all the paperwork, we do the packaging, the labeling, the placarding. So we're like, hey, we got this, no big deal. Yeah, joke was on us. And that's really when I learned the carrier side, because that was my task, was to really start up the operation. And I learned very quickly that I knew nothing about being a carrier.
How did you get to Ironwood?
So I actually was referred, I was told about the position through a friend. I had seen them and kind of knew of them from different industry events, but a friend in the industry told me, they were hiring. And at the time I was working for another company, Shell Tap Up. There was a startup, but we were out of the startup phase, and we had become company. So my role was kind of changing a little bit there, as we had established. And so when this opportunity came up, I knew they were a great company, and I just thought, wow, how great would it be to be able to help lots of people instead of just one person. And so that's how I got into Ironwood.
So we have a big fan. We're a big fan here of Kenny Ray. You probably know Kenny Ray at some point.
Love it.
Best storyteller ever,
Yes. Oh, yes.
isn't he? The best storyteller ever. Um, and I'll tell you, we're a big fan of his. I know you know him, and you can't, if you know Kenny Ray, you can't help love Kenny Ray. I mean that's you can't help. Am I right?
You are so right. He is the sweetest, most caring person I've ever met in my life. I just love him.
He's great. I got a man crush on him too. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I can't help it either. You talk to Kenny and you're just
How do you not?
you're oh no, he's the best, man. I've enjoyed being friends with Kenny Ray for a while now,
If
and I'll tell you
if I
what, I get quiet when he enters the room, and Roxanne, if you know anything about me, that's pretty hard for Drive Safe Dave to do. That is hard for me, but I don't hesitate when that happens. It, it, and here we are. There's a couple of things here. I wanted to talk a little bit about what you do, but also I want to highlight your role as a woman in the industry, because I think that's what this segment's about. We want to know what you do and how important it is. But did you have anybody that helped you in the industry that you would like to give a shout out to, or and how did they help you being a woman in this industry?
yes, so absolutely I did. I mean, there's honestly been a lot of people, but from the female side of it, I had a mentor, Gina Hessler. She's absolutely amazing, and she really took me in under her wing. Being to hit on the topic of being a woman in the industry, one of the things that I've always kind of been taught was that my empathy, and I'm very empathetic, and that was kind of seen as a weakness, and so I tried to hide that, and I got to a point that I kind of became almost too hard and too cold, but because I just wanted people to respect me and my knowledge. And so Gina was really the one that came in and really just kind of guided me like, no, this is a strength. And, this is something that we as women bring to the table that is different to the industry, and it really helps. And she really just she was like, embrace that about you and use it. And she taught me that, and it really, kind of really launched my career. I didn't realize I was kind of holding myself back in a sense because I wasn't being my normal, outgoing, friendly, caring, sensitive person because I was, fearful of that holding me back and being seen as a weakness. So she has been absolutely amazing. And it is because of her that I started mentoring. So I mentor a couple young ladies for the Women Trucking Association, and just want to give back to that. Yes, thank you. Just really trying to give back to that it's so important for us as women to support each other in this industry.
And I think you're right on. I think you hit it right on the nail. First of all, I want to make sure it's on record here at BCB that kindness is a strength, not a weakness. Um, and
Absolutely.
it and it should be important that each of us share it, give it, and find it in our lives. I mean, and if that is a strength of yours and a talent of yours, you share it, you do it, you go with it, because it is something that will shine bright wherever you go. I appreciate that, and I want to thank your mentor for bringing that to the table and helping you in that regard, because that is fundamentally necessary in this industry if we want to change it. I will tell you that I like the idea that you're mentoring other young ladies out there. I find it fantastic to know that they can find shelter in your experience, and they can find wisdom in where you've gone and what you've done beyond that. I think it's important that they continue to do that, and the association that you're a part of. Tell us how you joined it and when you joined it, the Women in Trucking.
So I actually, it was back in 2018. I was at a women's and chemical conference, and I had met a young lady there that told me about the women in trucking. So I've been following them. I've went to some of their conventions and things. But it's been recent, really in this past year that I've really like so I was a member through, my previous company. And so when I left them, I did my own personal membership, which is one of the things I want to point out about them that I love. You can do an individual um membership. And so I did that. And that was when I really got more heavily involved to it. And Gina, the lady I was talking about that was my mentor, I saw her on there, and I reached out and I was like, hey, can you keep being my mentor? And she was like, yes, but you really also need to think about being one yourself. And so I didn't, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And it kind of, I signed up for the thing, and it kind of went from there. And then a young
Bit off a
lady
little bit
reached
more than you thought right at first or something. Kind of got, yeah, like,
yeah.
okay, sure, I'll do that.
Right, like okay. And then the next thing I know, I'm like getting all these messages from these young ladies and stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to help them all. But of course I had to limit myself, and but yeah, it was really great. So I would say in the last year I've really became very, very active in the organization. But it's a
So
great association.
I agree with you 100%. What have you learned from the people you've mentored? Not from the one that obviously you're supposed to learn from the mentor, but when you become the mentor, that has its own learning curve, correct?
It does, and I'm still learning. Again, I'm new to it, but really, I think for the most part, it's a lot of. I really encourage them to become active in not just the Women's Trucking Association, but their local trucking associations.
Fantastic.
That's how I met Kenny Ray. I became a member of the Texas Trucking Association, and I went and took a class with them. And it was so amazing because I had taken lots of classes and certifications and stuff, but the difference is that when you walk out of that classroom with that certificate, it doesn't end there. You make a friend for life. And that's how you build your network and really get to know people. And the thing I love most about our industry is just how much everybody is willing to help each other. So if you can make those connections, everyone is so supportive, always willing to teach and learn. And your local associations is really like the best way to make those connections and learn and grow.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you're saying, especially when it comes to these associations, these trucking associations. They actually are they're a great way for we to learn about one another and debate and basically make great connections to find better ways to do things, better avenues for. Also, we gain strength in these
Yeah.
associations. We as an industry have been so weakened by the onslaught of legal attack that we have left ourselves vulnerable across the board. And let me tell you, whenever they do a trucking commercial or one of those attacks on us, they just show the image of the truck, never of the driver, never of the individual behind the wheel and the human aspect to trucking. I think people forget that this is a human industry and a necessary industry, but it's run and driven by humans, and that we're out there doing everything we can for the people that we serve in this industry. And Roxanne, I appreciate all that you do for that. Let me tell you, don't ever let anybody tell you that your kindness is a weakness. I stand behind your kindness. I stand behind your empathy and your compassion. I think it'll make you stronger in what you do because it gives you a better feeling of how to help somebody. And
It really does.
definitely, right? Because you listen more. and you
Yeah.
draw from him, and people trust you more. And I find that fascinating. All right, I know we're routing out of time, Roxanne. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for coming on and talking to us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and also about women in trucking. I don't forget to always mention that. I think it is. I even hear you laugh about it when you talk about it. I'm excited that you're excited about it because it makes a
I,
difference.
I love it.
Do what?
I am. I love it. It's my passion. I love to see the growth in the industry. I love seeing how many men support. I want to point that out real quick too. The women in trucking. It's not just you have to be a woman. A woman. There's so many men and companies in there that support women in our industry, and that is amazing as well. So
Yeah, I
I,
mean,
I
I can
love
tell
seeing
you,
growth.
if you love this industry, you have to be inclusive. If you want it to grow and be the best in the world, you have to include everyone with talent. And I'm telling you, if you leave that off the table, you better be bringing that talented women, smart, talented women in here if you want to be successful. And I agree with it 100%. All right, Roxanne, before you get out of here, I ask every one of our guests to state their name, who they're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that for me, Roxanne?
Yes, sir. You're speaking with Roxanne Brown, Ironwood Business Consulting, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Thank you very much, Roxanne. Great interview. I do appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, there you go. You've got women making a difference in the industry, right, Blake?
Yep, absolutely.
I tell you what, I like doing. I like doing these Wednesday segments. The ladies who launch.
I really do too.
I do.
Bryce has done a great job.
Yeah, Bryce has done a great job in bringing them in here and you know, showing us a you know, fantastic job. I guess, you know, used to in the industry, I would go into a trucking company and it was just a bunch of guys in the building, and it was a bunch of guys at the truck stop. Times are changing. It is evolving into something better. It is evolving now you can't walk into a trucking company and women aren't either in a leadership role or in management roles or taking the you know, the bull by the horns and really showing them what's going on. It's pretty fascinating. It's fun stuff. It's exciting stuff, and we will continue to do Ladies Alliance